napping in the dark, shooting stars over this old park. Burnt marshmallow on a crooked stick. You drop a comment, I'll read it quick. Switchback, sweat, and summit haze. Drone shots catching all those rays. Feels like we're together, y'all, out here on Woodall Trails. Like and subscribe to Woodall Trails. Hit that bell so you don't miss the tales. From a mountaintop view to the late night flames, we're chasing that wild by calling your name. So like and subscribe to Woodall Trails.
Just a little mic check, guys. Can everybody hear me? Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. J Flow there. What's going on, guys? Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. For some of y'all, it might be Thirsty Thursday. I don't drink, so happy Thursday. But quick little drink of water here, guys. It's hot out here in the garage. Turn the fan on, too. It's summertime, you know, in the South. Y'all know anything about the South in the garage. It sucks. Anyways, guys, this week episode on Adventure Closet Talk, we have fellow adventurer, hammock hanger. I say he's probably a lover of the outdoors as well. His name's AJ. He's coming in from, I believe, Florida. It's in the South. I can't remember if he's from Georgia or Florida. He'll let us know. But let's bring him on here, let him introduce himself, and we'll get things started. He's got a lot of cool stories. We've been talking before, so let's go.
Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing tonight? Yeah, my name is AJ Glenn, and wow, there's a lot that I could say about myself. So I have lived in Florida for close to 20 years now, but I will always be from Virginia. So yeah, so I grew up in Virginia, moved down to Florida, and I got into hammock camping probably in 2013, 2014. And had always been a lover of the outdoors, always a huge camper. I was an Eagle Scout growing up, so I've done the whole Scout thing. Luckily, I really lucked out with my wife. She also really likes camping, and we've been doing camping and adventures together. Even from our honeymoon, we went on a camping trip while we were on our honeymoon, and always been a huge fan of the outdoors. Always loved to travel. But when I got into hammock camping, that really opened the door for me to really join into the backpacking aspect of things. that was not something that I necessarily enjoyed doing earlier in life for a multitude of reasons. But I don't know. There was just something about hammock camping that kind of invited me into experiencing the outdoors in a new way. A little bit more about me. I am the host of the Hammock Hangers podcast. So if you're not familiar with that, you can a shameless shout out for the Hammock Hangers podcast. You
Oh,
can
not
join.
at all.
Yeah, you can join the 24, 25 people that we have listened on, whenever we release episodes or something. And I also do this little thing called HangCon. It's just a little hammock gathering that we have down in Florida with just
Just a little
a
one.
few people here and there. I also run an event, HangCon Europe in Denmark, and we just did our inaugural HangCon California last month on the West Coast. So I run a few little events. I'm in the real world. I'm a high school math teacher and tennis coach, father and musician, and yeah, I wear a lot of hats. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Sounds like you got your hands in a lot of pots there, man.
Maybe too many for my own good.
I can say I'm not quite there yet, but from the sounds of things and things we've been talking about, it sounds like I'm kind of on that kind of route as well.
No good deed goes unpunished. I'll tell you that. Don't get too good at what you do. The better that you are at what you do, the more work that you'll end up incurring.
I've always been told that. Okay, man. So you said got into hammocks. You said about 2013. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was not too long. My dad had just passed away, and so I was looking for something to just kind of get my mind kind of like settled. And at the time, I was working for the United Methodist Church, and I was sitting in a boardroom in Lakeland, Florida, and a buddy of mine, we were talking. We had a break, and he said, "Hey, I just jumped on this Kickstarter for this hammock camping setup." And I'm like, "Oh," because again, I'm thinking, backyard death traps. It's like, okay, whatever. And so I look at this. He shows me the Kickstarter link, and the first thing I see was like $300. And my first reaction was, like, what idiot spends $300 on a hammock setup? Those words alone, the amount of crow that I would eat from those words alone would, yeah. If I knew then what I know now. But I was intrigued by that. And I said, I've always liked camping, but I'm looking for something just new. And this seems like really cool, really exciting that I can just get, just experience the outdoors in a different way. And, ADHD kicked in, and I started this YouTube and internet black hole. And this was during the time, I would say probably in the heyday of hammock forums. So like there was a lot of activity going on. So I hopped on there and I went head, feet, nose down the rabbit hole. And I ended up purchasing an Eno one link system on hammock forums that was used. And I remember setting it up in the backyard. And even though, again, didn't know what I didn't know, it was I was hooked immediately. It's like, oh, this is comfortable. This is incredible. I can just lay here and take in the outdoors. And it's still Florida, so it's still very hot. But I remember from that point on, for 3 or 4 months before I got my first, I guess, cottage vendor real piece of gear, I think I probably laid outside probably every single day after school. And I would just lay out there and almost like meditate till 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then I'd kind of stroll in. But I would say the hammock was what really allowed me to process through kind of the change in life from losing my dad. And from that point on, it brought me 4 months later, I went on my very first backpacking trip since I was in high school. Again, side note to all of this, I was probably shooting around 400 pounds at the time, so I was a very heavy guy. So again, backpacking wasn't really on the totem pole. But I don't know. There was just something that called out to me that said, "Hey, you should do this." So I'm gonna go hang out with people that I met on the internet, out in the woods from a trail that I'd never hiked. And yeah, I did it. And from that point on, I've been hooked.
Man, the story. So kind of similar. I didn't even know hammocks were a thing probably until about 5 years ago. Yeah, it's probably about 5 years, maybe 6 years. I don't know exactly. But my cousin, who I'm going to hang out with him this weekend, hopefully, but he posted a video. He had a YouTube back then. He posted a video on Facebook. I watched. I was like, "The heck is this thing he's sleeping in?" And it was at that point I decided that I was going to try it. And like you, I was a bigger fella. I didn't know they had hammocks for bigger fellas. So, well, I got into hiking first. So the story is I had I was a bigger fella. I was in the army. Well, bigger all my life. Lost weight. Got in the army. Got out. Got even bigger. And basically, about 5 years ago, I had bariatric surgery. Changed my life. I love the outdoors. Always loved it. Always active. Got back into hiking. Then seen the hammock camping from him, and got into hammock camping and backpacking. And since then, it's just been all over the place.
Well, that's something else we can share. So, when did you have your bariatric surgery?
Probably, I want to say it was, let's see here, 2021. Yeah, 2021.
Okay. So I had bariatric surgery in 2022. So yeah. But yeah, how has that kind of like changed? Well, I'm sure I can, at least for me, it opened up so many more doors for me to experience the outdoor in ways that I never could have before.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was bigger, I would still do it. When I first decided for bariatric surgery, I dropped about 60 pounds. That's when I started getting into hiking. And at that point, 4 miles, that was all I was going to be able to do. I mean, and I felt like it was a big thing then. But I mean, after surgery, I mean, like it basically changed my life. I mean, now, like my daughter earlier, she's like, I wanted her to watch my video before I uploaded and everything. And in the video, I'm like, I'm just doing a small 17, 20-mile loop. And she goes, just a small one. But I mean, I would never even have thought 5 years ago when I got into the hiking, hammock camping, backpacking stuff that I would be where I'm at right now.
Oh, for sure. 100%. 100%. I distinctly remember kind of the aha moment for me. We were camping and I was doing some hiking. I want to say it was in Colorado, and I was doing the trail, and it wasn't really flat. It was very rocky, but I almost felt like a little boy just exploring the woods again, because I didn't have to worry about like, oh well, if I trip over this rock and fall, it's gonna really hurt. Inertia and contacting that ground is not gonna feel good, but I didn't worry about that. I was so light on my feet, and I could really experience and enjoy the whole aspect of things versus having to worry about don't trip and fall. So, but I mean, yeah, like you said, I think a lot of there is some misconceptions, coming from being a former big guy, but I'm not necessarily a small person.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not small either.
Yeah, I'll never be. I think whatever the BMI says for me, I should be like 180 pounds, which I mean,
Yep, exactly.
I have no desire. That's not going to happen. But a lot of misconceptions that, like you said, you didn't think hammock camping was for bigger guys because they're like, oh, well, this piece of fabric is going to hold my butt up in the woods. Oh, actually, yes, it will.
Yes.
Even a single layer in a lot of cases will hold. I built a hammock out of I want to say 1.7 mountain from Ripstop by the Roll. And again, this is still when I was 400 pounds in a single layer. This has probably been close to 9 years ago. It's still on my back porch, and I still hop in every once in a while. And I literally left it outside for 9 years. It's in a shaded part of my back porch, but it's been outside for 8 years, 9 years, and it's still holding up even at 400 pounds. So now I'm not 400 pounds now, but yeah, it's held up over time to the weather and all sorts of stuff.
So, we was talking about bariatric surgery and stuff. What was the aha moment for you that you're like? Because I humbled it for quite a while, being bigger, and then having my daughter, and then having family, and then I was a younger daughter, trying to get out and do stuff with them, and I know it. And it's like finally, I started working with my boss. We were both bigger guys. He decided, like, and we both started talking about it. He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. And I was like, and I'd been mulling over it a while. I was like, you know what? If he can do it, I think I can too.
I think for me, my aha moment was, well, I mentioned that I lost my dad in 2014, something like 2014. He was 64 years old. And I lost my mom 3 years later at 58. And I was at a point where I didn't have any necessary health issues, but again, it was kind of like a gut check. I wanted to do all this. I've always been pretty active. Like, I've played tennis since high school. I like doing the outdoor stuff. Even if it's not hiking, just camping in itself can be a workout in different ways. Even car camping, and I wanted to truly experience that, and not have to worry about, dang, I'm always tired, or I don't want a sleep apnea machine, or all this stuff. And
Yes.
But it came down to, like, hey, I want to live my life. I want to enjoy the life, because this is the prime time of my life. And for me, losing both my parents at such a young age, like, I want to enjoy the time that I have left, whatever time that I have left. And being a dad and being a husband, I want to be around for that as well. So I don't think there was a single moment of just like aha, but yeah, it was avoiding the inevitable, I guess.
Okay, man. So being hammock camping, you've done it for a while now. Where's been your favorite place that you've hung your hammock?
Oh,
Wow.
I haven't. Oh man, now that I'm thinking about it, my favorite place that I've hung my hammock. All right, I got a top three. Well, maybe, yeah, I got a top three. So, favorite place that I've hung my hammock, but not necessarily camped, Glacier National Park, hands down, without a question. Up until this point, because I've learned there may be somewhere prettier. Up until this point, Glacier National Park is the most pretty, beautiful place that I've seen on Earth. Up until this point, and even then, I only got to see the east side of it, because the Going to the Sun Road at the time was closed for 20 feet of snow still at the visitor center over July 4th weekend. Yeah, that was crazy. Probably my favorite place that I have camped, and this was just a culmination of a lot of different things. And if that bum Corey Bleeker is still in the chat here, maybe he can attest to this as well. But probably the first time that we went to Denmark, we stayed at a place. It was kind of a historic site. It was this Viking hut that we kind of had dinner in. But that night, just back into the woods, I don't know. There was just something magical about that entire trip, and probably piggybacking off of that. This year when I went, I usually try to leave 3 or 4 days before the event starts in Denmark, so I can catch up with some friends that I have over there before I have to go full into Phoenix mode for the event. And we always go to these really cool places in Denmark, and the camping culture over there is just so unique and different. But being in the woods over there, it's like being in a fairy tale. Ground covered in moss, or just like this ground covered that's budding in flower. It's like something from a fantasy novel, and yeah, that's probably my favorite places that I've hung.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. I would love to one day go to HangCon Europe, maybe eventually for a trip.
I tell people get very overwhelmed with like, oh, it's Europe, da da da. If you were to say, hey, if I could make it to either HangCon Europe or let's say even Florida, logistically, and depending on your means or whatever, logistically, HangCon Europe is easier than probably coming to Florida. I just
you gotta have to explain that to me, because all I do is I hop in a car and drive. I want to say it's 13, about 13 hours down there.
All right, so when you were going, or let's say you were flying out to like California, let's say California, because you're probably, well, some people did, but most people are going to drive from the East Coast all the way out to California. So they would have to rent a car, and then they have to drive the rental car, and it's just having to deal with California traffic, which is crazy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, I could get on a plane from, let's say, Florida. I fly out of Orlando. I fly right into Copenhagen Airport. I get on a train from Copenhagen all the way to the event, get off the train, walk probably a third of a mile, and do the event. And if I wanted to, I could walk back to that same train station, hop a train right back to the airport, and fly home. I don't have to rent a rental car. I can walk everywhere that I want to go. And travel logistics is crazy easy.
Everybody says you can just hop on a train over there and get pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about Europe. The public transportation is just incredible.
Mr. Mike Conley, he said Tommy, his buddy Tommy, he went there this year and he's trying to talk him into it.
Oh yeah, Tommy had a great time, and I know Tommy was a little apprehensive when he originally saw it, but I was talking with him and he seemed to have a really great time. I thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with Tommy. I got to hang out with him a little bit more than I would in Florida. Just because I've got a little less on my plate in Denmark, but he was staying at the same hotel that we did in Copenhagen as well. So we rode the train back and got to talk a little bit there. So he had a blast. And if anybody is wanting to, if they think that might be something they want to do, I'm going to tell you, it's a lot easier and less intimidating than it may initially seem. Plus, the people over there are amazing. The food is incredible. They speak English just off they code switch like they go from black to white. It's crazy awesome.
I've seen a lot of pictures and everything that people posted, and especially Dutch. And I was like, eventually, I'd say, and eventually, I mean probably a few years, hopefully. That'd be one of my dream trips right there. Oh, okay, so talking about HangCon, been going on for a while now. I mean, at least over 10 years, isn't it now?
Yeah. So the HangCon event, I want to say, has been going on. We'll be going into our 17th year of having this event. Me and Paul have ran it for the last 7 years. The original founders, they did the event for 10 years, and they were transitioning to a new stage in life. And at the time, they couldn't find anyone to take it over. And they invited me to camp in 2020 before the event. And we were talking back and forth because I'd helped, with the meal preps and little things here or there. And they wanted to dine me, and they sweet talked me, and they said, hey, you already have a really good group of people that you camp with, and you all come to HangCon, and I really think that you would go really well as our next leader for this event. And I was really kind of blown away because even though people make the comment, oh, it's such a well-run event, so well organized, I'm personally a hot mess express. I am just here, there, everywhere. That's the Christmas miracle of Haycott every year that it falls into place. But I've got a really great crew, and my wife really, she's the organization in our household, so she kind of keeps things going in the right direction. But I took it over at 2020, and so 2021 was our first kind of foray into this event. And since we moved the event from the original location was at Doe Lake State Park group campsite, we had been having probably about 200 people. And with long story short, a series of events, we decided to move it to where it currently is. At the time, it was Sartoma Youth Ranch. And so I decided to take over in 2020, not knowing that not 3 months later, the world was going to lose its mind and it was just going to fall apart. And so, yeah, COVID was an interesting hurdle for us. It was like, do we do it? Are there like lulls and outbreaks? So we were watching all these kind of numbers, and I kind of joke with people that, well, we didn't celebrate COVID in Florida like the rest of people did, but it was still something very much on our minds. And we did a lot of precautions, but we did it our first year in 2021, and we had 150 people, which, as a first run, I was thrilled with. I really was. We weren't too short of where we normally were. And then we started the podcast, and then we really kind of bustled into the Facebook social media, because that was something that I wanted to kind of get going, because up until that point, it was kind of relegated to only a post in hammock forums, and maybe some posts on Reddit, and kind of word of mouth. But we kind of broadened that horizon. Second year, we had 300 people. So we doubled our attendance in 1 year. Then the next year we had 400. And the next year we had 500. And for the last 2 years, we've hovered around 600 people. And I want to say one of the reasons that we were hovered around this year, because we had a burn ban in Florida, and temperatures that were dropped into the mid-20s in a burn ban. There's only so much heat that little propane fire pit that we tried to accommodate as much as we could would put out. So I think that scared a few people away. The weather on Sunday was a little bit rough for some, with some wind and storms. But overall, it really has turned into a really grand event. I'm really happy with what my crew has been able to put together and what we've been able to create for the community. It really does feel like a family reunion, just with 600 people. A lot of people get very intimidated when they hear, oh, that's 600 people. Oh, that's a lot of people. I don't know if I can handle 600 people. That's a lot. I'm very much an introverted people. Well, so am I, apparently, except for like 3 weekends a year where I do these things. Because at the end, I kind of joke with my crew and my wife. By Monday, when everyone leaves, I say, I love you all, but right now I need you out of my life. I need a break. And so probably the weekend after, because again, I'm a glutton for punishment. HankCon ends on Tuesday. I'm back in the classroom on Tuesday. And luckily on Saturday of that week, I just stay in the bedroom and I just, maybe sit in the bed and just rock up back and forth, just taking in, what the heck have I done?
An extroverted introvert. There we go.
I am a very outgoing introvert. I like small groups of people, and I mask really, really well when it comes to large groups. I went to school to be an actor. I'm a professionally trained actor, and so yeah, it's all a play. It's all fake. My joy on stage is nothing but a makeup and just anxiety. That's just what.
I mean, it's just how we got to do for society, man.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Mike here said rough. He said, pardon my French. It was fucking cold and windy.
It was probably one of the I'd say consistently colder, if not the coldest in recent memory that I've experienced at HangCon for a while. I remember, I want to say it was my second year when we did it back at Doe Lake. One of the nights it got down to 23 degrees. It was really flipping cold. But it would kind of ebb and flow. This year it was just cold. It was just bitterly cold. And again, we tried for those propane fire pits. We had the heaters going on and stuff like that, but man, there's just something not missing with like a real campfire. Now, for the pros of that, we saved a buttload of money on firewood, but the heat factor was not exactly the same, and we kind of needed that heat factor.
I'm gonna say that cost of firewood went into propane.
We probably spend, this is kind of a seeing how the sausage is made. By the time we bought the propane heaters and we filled up, I made one. I think I made one, and maybe somebody else made another run to do a propane refill. I want to say it was probably around $700, probably overall, and that included the fire pits and stuff. At HangCon itself, we'll probably go through $900 plus just in firewood. We burn. Well, I really mean Juan. Juan, our fire guy, he burns through a lot of wood. And I can imagine with it being that cold, we would easily go through $900 worth of firewood.
Yes, probably would have. Probably had got another $200 worth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, man. So, hammocker. I know I'm probably gonna get some smack out there in the comments and stuff, but which one is your favorite? And I want to know why it's your favorite. And I know it's a hard to choose because they all have their favorite parts.
All right, so I don't necessarily have I'm gonna rephrase your question. If my gear was the dearly departed in a house fire, and I could only save one, which one would I go to save? Because they all have, well, not all of them, but I would say probably 10 of them have a very deep personal connection with me in some way, shape, or form. I would say if I could save one that I know that I would be able to get the most use of throughout anything, it would be my 40-degree quilted chameleon. Just because, in Florida, a 40-degree really is, for the 90% of people, that's a 4-season quilt. Very rarely, occasionally, do I need something really under 40 degrees. And the way that the chameleon zipper, for better or worse, I know it's not as easy to use as some of the other zippers. Fair point. But the attachment points and the modularity that really provides, I really say it is second to none in the industry. And yeah, I would say for that, hammock wise, it would be my quilted chameleon.
I know what you're saying there. I mean, it's hard to pick just one.
Although I also grabbed my day pack, which also has my Majestic hammock in it as well. And so I'm going to say, technically it's a quilted chameleon, so it's really just a quilt that I'm grabbing. So
I'm going to say definitely probably would be my wife's chameleon. She'd probably kill me if I let it get burned up in a fire. Yeah.
Yeah. The chameleon is definitely up there for me. I probably have like a top 3. I would say gathered ends wise. The quilted chameleon is not my most comfortable hammock. Just I like the features that it provides. If I had to grab one because everything else is going away, I could do the most adventuring with that particular setup.
Mm-hmm. I like to call it the budget man's chameleon, the Circadian Pro.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, I got that, and I've been using it for a few years now. It does everything I need it to do, and I have 2 of them. I have one that's heavier, of course, for the wintertime, and I can get down to about 10 degrees in it, And then my other one, it's my year round. I got down into the mid 30s with it. I'm comfortable in the mid 30s.
Yeah, I would say that because this past year I've kind of gone um, just trying out different things. I was kind of late on the bandwagon with the Warbonnet Wookie because the Warbonnet XLC was my very first cottage vendor hammock. And I was getting into hammock camping when that first Gen 1 XLC was hitting the market. So it got a lot of hype. So I was like, okay, I need that because everyone says that's the best thing. That's that's everything that's wonderful. So I'm going to get that. Well, I got it and I enjoyed it because again, that whole I didn't know what I didn't know. It was an 11-foot hammock, so it definitely felt better than that 9-foot Eno that I was used to. But I could never really get it dialed in. I couldn't figure out what exactly am I doing to get that perfect lay every single time. So there was a lot of fiddle factor that, you know, the ADHD in me kind of likes a little bit of fiddle factor, but that was just, I couldn't solve that. And so I went away from using it for a long time. Still love my Superfly tarp that I got when I ordered that. Love all my other Warbonnet gear, but I could never really like vibe with the XLC. And I even tried the Gen 2, and I tried the Wookie finally because I got into quilted hammocks. And I was like, oh, I don't have to bring and fiddle with all the suspension of a traditional underquilt because it was also a pain in my butt. So, all right, I'll try. So because when I got the Quilted Chameleon and I tried, you know, Superior gears because I have a few of theirs as well, I said, oh, I will never go back to a separate underquilt. Like I just don't want that problem. But gosh, I tried a Gen 1 Wookie and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And we were coming back from Michigan this past year. And we were flying back from Grand Rapids into Tampa, and our plane got routed from Tampa to Punta Gorda because of some storm or whatever. But by the time we got down there, we had to get off, and you know, they had to fill up the airplane and fly back. But we couldn't leave the actual plane, and so my trigger finger got a little itchy. So I was like, all right, well, he just released the Gen 3. All right. I'll give it a shot. And again, this was the first time I'd also ordered a single layer because, you know, I hadn't ordered an XLC since I'd lost a lot of weight. And I have thoroughly enjoyed whatever he has done with the Gen 3. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's really been my go-to hammock since, last October. So about a year. And I got a Gen 2 Wookie. To go with it, and that's the setup that I took. I didn't use it at HangCon, but that's the setup that I took to Denmark. That's the setup that I took to another hang that I went to early in the year. This is a setup that I took to California, and a couple other hangs that I've gone to. So I've spent a lot of time with it, and I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed the kind of new generations of Warbonnet products. So shout out to them too.
I'm gonna say they look really I want to say not intimidating, but unique in the way that they've done what they've done. You stake it out, it creates the shelves and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really does. There's a few hammocks on the market that I would say are more hang sensitive than others, and the XLC is definitely still, even with the Gen 3, it's still very sensitive to how you hang the hammock. That foot end really legitimately needs to be significantly higher. I want to say between 13 and 18 inches from the head end. Ooh. And it looks, when you're hanging, when you look at it, it's like, gosh, that can't be right. Like that, that's really, and it looks like that you're gonna lay down on it and you're gonna slump all to one side. But when you get in it, it just works. I don't know, but it is very hang sensitive, and I do thoroughly enjoy the way that the bug net does have a panel of fabric on the side that goes from the zipper to the I guess you'd say the main body of the bug net that does lift it up off your face, but I hate the fact that you've got to stake it out. Uh, that's what another gripe that I have about it. It I end up tripping over the guidelines and stuff like that. It just I have to enter the tarp from one end every single time, so it's taken a little adjustment. But yeah, it really is nice. I love the shelf. They were the first people that kind of brought that storage system for hammocking into the actual hammock. How Brandon has done his ridge lines for his tarps don't require seam sealing. They were kind of the first ones on the market, as far as I know, to get that process kind of going. They're really maybe the first mainstream vendor that have done kind of the half doors on the end of the tarps, more predominantly is for their flagship model tarps. I know you've even had some like special order stuff from different vendors, but that's kind of their bread and butter. So their top quilts are also really nice with the Diamondback baffling. It kind of keeps the down from migrating from one end of the quilt to the other, so you don't get cold spots. Not quite as secure as what you would get in a Loco Libre Care Step baffling, because gosh, if you got one of those, they are really works of art. They really are.
I know someone that has one, and they're pretty nice. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, they're. I was lucky enough. I was able to get one, probably one of George's last before he ended up selling it to Dutchware. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that quilt, and looking at it, it's really just amazing.
So I think you might have answered this question earlier, but I don't know if you did or not. But I'm guessing you're a hardware guy, not a knot guy.
Actually, no, I am not. I do like my hardware, but I thoroughly enjoy the simplicity of a bucket hitch suspension setup. One thing that I do really with all of my hammocks, I get rid of the continuous loops.
Okay.
I take them all out, and I immediately replace them with universal loops. They're kind of the ones Jeff Myers kind of popularized this, and he's actually done a really good job of posting videos of how to make a lot of his stuff. And between his and a few other videos, I learned to make the universal loops. I started off learning the Evo loops, but spoiler alert to everybody, the universal loop is actually a lot easier to tie, at least for me, than the Evo loop. They're a lot easier to make. And so I replace all of my continuous loops with those universal loops, because I can use whatever setup that I want. But I like the fact that I can use the Beckett hitch, because it's one less piece of gear that I have to worry about losing, that I have to worry about it failing. And yep, so simple. I keep it simple, Steve.
I get you. I get you.
Yes. So while I do love my buckles and love hardware, yeah, a Beckett hitch is the way to go. Now, as far as my tarp and stuff goes, I like my hardware as well. I use the tack toggles on my tarps. I tried using knots as a setup, and they work until your hands get really cold, and you will have to tie those knots when it's really cold with really thin zinget line. Yeah, 0 stars. Do not recommend.
Yeah. My wife uses the Dutch hardware, and I just use simple line locks. I mean, why change something that's worked for me for 5 years? I like it simple. Keep them attached to the tarp. Get there, throw it out, done.
And that's what I tell a lot of people. Because I had this conversation with a guy out in California. He's like, I like going to all these classes and seeing all these new things, but it always makes me want to change something. And I know what I have already works. And I said, well, it's just money. Just try some things out, and some upgrades, or trying stuff out. You like the tack toggles. They're not $9 each. You can probably get them for probably less than $1 a piece. And for me, it was worth it just to throw them on. I know that they're not metal, so I know that they're not going to rub or wear spots in my gear. They're light, and they're less than $1 a piece. What are you losing there? And if you try something out and it doesn't work, who cares? You tried something else out. Like for example, there's some people that swear by the loop aliens
Mm-hmm.
for like tarps and stuff. I've tried on numerous occasions to use them and try to get with them. That yeah, just not for me. Just not for me.
Okay, man. So you talked about several hangs you've been to this year. I know you've been to probably a lot of hangs throughout the years, being a hammock camper. Uh, Besides the hang cons, because they're pretty epic. Which one should you not miss if you're a hammock camper? Which one should you not miss?
Oh man. So they're all very different. And that's something that I've learned from going to hangs in different parts of the country. I have never been. Let me think. No, I can't say. I've never been to a bad hang. They're just very different. Even the same size hangs. Like for example, we've gone to some hangs in South Carolina that were about the same size as HangCon California. We had about 37 people out there this year, but the vibe was just very different. Both good, just very different. Went to probably comparably Fall Sprawl in South Carolina, which is a great event run by Palmetto State Hangers, and Michiligan, which was run this year, first time by Stephanie Aarons up in Michigan. First time running a hang, did an amazing job. Absolutely, I would strongly suggest going to that one, and Fall Sprawl as well, but very different vibes. And so it was just different. So I would say one that I would not miss. Um, I would for your probably larger esque hangs. I would say Fall Sprawl and Michiligan are two of my favorite hangs that I've been to. Again, they feel like family reunions to me. Like they really, really do. Um, for like a smaller one, um, hmm, a smaller one that I have not been to, but it thoroughly, really makes me want to go to it is Yates Place in North Carolina. I know some of the hoodlums that go up there and hang out at that hang, and
Yeah.
it sounds absolutely like a good time. I can just imagine the conversations around the campfire, and Phantom Grappler, who's been around forever, and he can talk a good story for a really long time. But a great guy, and some of the other people that are out there as well, and they do a lot of fun stuff at that one. I know the Lobster and Lighthouse Hang is kind of also on that bucket list for me as well, just because I like lobster. Maine is kind of a far distance away, but yeah, I would say for those three would definitely be on my radar. Another one that I really wish that I could get out to. Shout out to Jim Cooper in New York. So he did a hang this year at the end of May, and all of that came from a conversation and poor life choices. So he sent me a message at 11 o'clock at night because, again, we both make poor life choices, and we are up, and I just engaged in a conversation. And he said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a hang," and I said, "Do it." And whenever anybody asks me to do it, my first gut is to just do it, just do it. And I told him, I said, your biggest hurdle is going to find a location and parking at that location. That is going to be 70 to 80% of your issue. And he responded back, well, I run a camp in New York, and I was like, dude, then you should definitely do this, absolutely. And he's like, okay, I'm going to try to talk to my camp bosses about letting me run this particular event, and And I actually talked him into convincing his boss to pay for him to come down to HangCon as a professional development, for him to see how HangCon was done, and so he would get all these ideas. And he fell in love with the community. He fell in love with the planning and running of that hang, and that's been my like feel good story for this year. Because I was just talking to him a little bit before I hopped on here about hopping on the podcast and talking about his experience. But his first year, he had between 25 and 30 people. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. Not all hangs, like you said, not all hangs need to be HangCon. In fact, most hangs shouldn't be HangCon, because HangCon's a lot of work, and it's a very high ceiling for someone just coming in. Like 20, 30 people, that's awesome, man.
That's a lot. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, let's just get this community building. And that's one thing that I love. One person asked me, he's like, "Oh, don't you worry about other people like competing against HangCon?" No, not at all. I want to see more people out experience.
You're the blueprint.
Camping. Yeah.
Y'all are the blueprint. That's what it is.
Again, it is the Christmas miracle. No one needs to see how the Scrabble is made. But anybody has questions about, I know you've asked me some questions about, your hang that you're, putting together. And I've talked with Sean from Rewild. I've gone to his event a few times. And I tell people, if you've got questions that you want to run a hang, whether it be a big hang with, 30, 40, 50, 100 people, or if you just want to do like a backpacking, hey, let's just get together and, go backpacking. If you want a question, feel free to shoot me an email. I have no problem talking to you, even if it is 11 o'clock at night, and I probably should be in bed sleeping and making productive life choices. I do not do that. So, yeah, I just love seeing this community grow, and that's always been kind of my focus with HangCon and really with the podcast as well. Let's get this community bigger and better, and more people need to experience what we already know. That the hammock community is just something different. I'm a part of a few different, hobby communities, groups, or whatever. There's nothing that remotely comes close to the hammock community. And I've said this on the podcast, and I've said it in conversations, making friends as an adult is almost impossible, and it's weird, and it's complicated, and everybody's got the life, going on. But with the hammock community, I have made so many friends from all over the world, very, very quickly. I have made old friends really, really quickly, and I just can't attest that to anything other than the amazing people that I've met just hanging between two trees. So
I'm gonna say the same thing. I didn't really get into the hammock hangs until HangCon. Steve, actually, I think it was his first year that he had went. He posted about it and posted pictures and all this, and I was like, you know what? And then I seen it start. The man, they're always listening. I started getting more and more stuff with it on Facebook. And I was like, you know what? This is kind of interesting. So I decided just to come down. I was like, told my wife, I was like, hey, do you mind if I take Jazzy down and we go to this? She's like, I don't care. She's like, as long as you're back for work, as long as you come back before the end of the weekend, it's like, I'll be back. So I loaded up the car and headed down there. And like I said, I've met probably 95% of the people that are in this chat right now. I've met through content creation, hammock hangs, and backpacking. Every one of them I've met through this community, and not in one of them I've never had a bad experience. Like you said, we're all a family. As we say, I say tramley. We're all usually out there for one purpose, and that's one purpose, and it's just to get outdoors and enjoy the outdoors and have someone that enjoys it with us. Yeah,
I can't necessarily. I can say that I've never met any that I wouldn't hang out with, but yeah, I would agree. Like, for example, Christian and Nils over in Denmark. I was 99% a go of going to being in Denmark actually right now for Nils's wedding, but I couldn't find anyone to watch my darn kids. So, if you would have told me 5 years ago you're gonna have connections to a country in Europe only because you sleep in a hammock. I would, for one, 5 years ago, I probably couldn't have told you where Denmark was on a map, and now I just have this deep connection to that whole area. Not just I've got friends in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, Germany, all of those countries that only happened because I camp in a hammock. How weird is that?
We have Mr. Jerry there. He's like, good name for a hammock hang would be the bear burrito.
I have an idea, and I sent it to my crew, and I may have told it to Corey too, and he thought it was stupid. But it was a big hit for the bushcraft community that I've become kind of de facto really involved with in the last few years. I wanted to do a hang on like a piece of property where we could have like a gun range. So we could like hang and shoot firearms, this, that, and the other, and we called it the hang and bang. But yeah, there was a lot of like mixed reaction to that. I'm not too sure quite why, but yeah, there's a few other things that I've got coming down the pipe that I'd really like to come to fruition. But yeah, the bear burrito. There was actually a guy on Hammock Forums. That was his trail name. Was the bear burrito?
Did he camp in a hammock?
Probably. Yeah, he was probably a ground dweller. He was probably one of those cowboy campers.
Oh man, whew. Sorry, it's getting hot in the garage here.
Yeah, you're a stronger man than I am because I'd be here in Florida. I understand the humidity quite well. So you're a better man than I.
Okay, man. So you already answered a lot of my stuff, so it's getting harder and harder to just talk here because you're just so good at talking. But
oh, thank you.
So going more into hammocks and stuff, suspension wise, which one do you prefer and why?
I really bounce back and forth. If I had to, choose one that I was going to be married to, it would be the Beckett hitch system. Only because it's simple, it's stupid light. I don't have to worry about losing a buckle because it fell off, because that's happened before, or it wearing out. The suspension, which can happen with continuous loops. If you put the universal on there, they last significantly longer. And the Dyneema webbing is stupid light, so it's simple, it's light, it's compactable, and so that kind of checks all my boxes. Now, I do, if I'm going to use buckles, I do like the new version of the Dutch wear beetle buckles. That's kind of like my secondary go-to. So, yeah, if I was going to go suspension, I go with that. Dyneema straps for the Beckett hitch. I also add an Evo Loop Universal to the end of my tree straps as well, which I use 12-foot tree straps for those people that are interested. Because, again, on the East Coast, the trees are relatively, small. I actually developed my own hammocks suspension as well. It kind of incorporates the Beckett hitch system, but it also adds an aspect of a whoopee sling as well. So I haven't converted all of my suspension to that, but it's essentially the Beckett hitch. So we're just going to go with that. So yes, Beckett hitch system would be my suggestion for veterans that are looking to kind of set on something super simple and super light.
Not gonna lie, I like my cinch buckles, but I started on whoopee slings, and that's kind of like what threw me out because I hated the which one?
The daisy chains?
Nope, not daisy chains. I used Marlin
spike hitch. Yeah.
Yep. That's what broke me from it. Nope, don't like it. It's just an extra step I got to remember how to do.
Yeah, that was one thing that I never really truly connected with. I used whoopee slings for a few years, but I wouldn't do the Marlin spike hitch. I would use the Dutch buckles as well, and I would hook around there. But that it kind of got in the pain in the butt adjusting that. But yeah, so with my suspension, I actually just have spliced a universal loop inside the loop for the whoopee sling, so you can back it hitch to that loop, and you still have the adjustment with the whoopee sling, so you don't have to worry about a Marlin spike because, yeah, at 400 pounds, I've popped some spikes, and I don't care how on the knot I was. I know I was on the knot. I'm well aware I was on the knot, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
0 stars.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one thing that hasn't failed me has been my buckles. I've actually watched 2 beetle buckles fail, but I think it was because they didn't. What Dutch always says: once you get it there, set it. I don't think they had it set, and their straps weren't straight, and when they sit down, it just didn't catch, went straight through. And actually, one guy, I think it ripped his strap.
Oh wow.
So I have to notice on those really well. Make sure you get your straps perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Yeah,
when you do it the way he tells you to do it, works perfect every time.
Yeah, I've had that with Beetle buckles as well. Again, user error, where I have I wouldn't say shredded, but definitely put a significant amount of instant wear on the straps. I know there was another question in the comments as I'm just kind of strolling through here.
Yobo gear stand.
If I've tried the Turtle Bug hammock stand. Yeah, I've got 2 of them. If you were to ask me if I was going to lose all of my camping gear and I had to save one stand, it would be the Turtle Bug. I do thoroughly enjoy. Again, I make poor financial choices. I have every single one of Yobo stands and Tensa stands, and I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, the Turtle Bug is the best hammock stand on the market. Price per value, it's great.
I'm going to tell you, the way you just said all that sounded just like Mike Conley. If you ever hear him talk about gear, he's one. We was talking about it before. I was at Who Hang this past weekend down there with Jason, and this dude pulled out. He had 2 stands. He had a stand set up, pulled out another stand, had 5 or 6 hammocks. I'm like, dude, there's only so much gear you got to bring. He's like, no.
You should really see how much gear that I roll into hang con with.
Yeah, most definitely. Turtle Bug, way to go. I'm going to get it. I got one, going to get another one, and eventually I want the iDome. That's an eventual. Okay. So then I can have, me and the wife can be in the iDome, and the girls can be in their hammock stands. They can stay out in the cold. Me and the wife can have the nice warm iDome.
Yeah, the iDome was interesting. So I saw one of those. Let's see, Steve Hazel from Hang Tight. He brought one to HangCon a few years ago, and it's definitely an interesting setup there. Definitely an interesting setup. One thing that I really like about the Turtle Bug is it fits on a carry-on luggage. So I have taken the Turtle Bug traveling with me across country, across the Atlantic, and yeah, people say to me, especially people that are relatively new to the hammock world, it's like, oh my gosh, what, $400 for a hammock stand? That's
it's worth every penny.
Really, it's worth every penny. And both me and my wife were teachers, and so during the summer we usually go on these road trips. And I like to hammock camp. I do not like sleeping in the camper. The only time that I like sleeping in the camper is if the nighttime temperatures are not dropping below 75 and the camper has AC. But I will sleep in my hammock. But there are a lot of places, more than I would really have thought, where I have not been able to either, one, there weren't trees on the campsite because campsite photos are weird at best, and they're grainy and you can't really tell the layout of the land, or like, for example, in Colorado state parks, you can't even hang from the trees, so regulations kind of limit that as well. With the hammock stand, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I can hang in my hammock every single night that I'm out camping, whether I want to or not. And even when we went to Michigan this year, I brought my hammock stand. There were plenty of trees out there, but a hammock stand, I can set up wherever I want. And I can set up closer to the bathrooms. If you come to HangCon and you can't come till like Friday, I would strongly suggest having a hammock stand if you want to be really close to the action and close
Yep.
to the vendors. And that really opens up a lot of aspects to camping where you want, when you want, and how you want. And you can guarantee that you can camp comfortably. So, yeah, $400, I'll pay it every day. And how much are hotel rooms now? They're ridiculously expensive. So don't tell me like $400.
A cheap one's $100 a night. That's a cheap one.
That's cheap. You're probably gonna get bed lice. And there's probably a murder scene in there, or at least some videos that were made 3 or 4 nights before you stayed in there. So $100 is not really gonna cut it. But so $400, you get to keep it as well and use it. And I've used mine significantly. Also,
I'm taking mine with me next year when we go to Florida with her family. I'm like, yeah, I'm setting my hammock stand up in like out there out in the balcony where it's nice and got the ocean sounds and everything, and you all can sleep in there.
Yeah, so I did that exact same thing. We went skiing a few years ago with my in-laws, brother-in-law and sister-in-law. There were a lot of people because one of them, they've got 4 or 5 kids. And there was a lot of people in the house. And again, this very outgoing introvert, there's a lot of people in the house and a lot of kids and a lot of running, a lot of sounds that I got tired of really, really quickly. So I actually set up my hammock stand out on the porch, and that allowed me to get away from the craziness when I needed to. So I didn't murder anyone over the course of that trip. So,
Yep.
YOBO, camping in comfort and saving lives all at the same time.
Oh man, you ready for these would you rather's?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let me pull them up here. Like a
I'll
good.
say that while you're looking for that, someone asked me to comment, am I a head right or a head left? I swing either way. I could go one way or the other. I'm not a dedicated. I can go either way. One thing that I do like about the ASIM hammocks is it does provide a nice little taut lay, especially when it comes to the bug net and things. But really, a symmetrical hammock is fine for me because I can roll around here, there, and everywhere. So. I'm not a committed one team or the other. So, but I guess by default, if I had to choose, it would be head left, feet right. So
That's how head and left, feet right. That's how I sleep.
Yeah.
Which is right lay.
I
think right. Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe. That's the only way, right? Funny thing is, I set it up. I set that. That's the way I got Brandy's chameleon made, and I'm pretty sure she'd probably want to sleep the other way. Every time I see her there, she's sleeping the opposite direction. I'm like, why?
Your feet gonna get cold.
I guess during the summertime it don't matter. I told her like, you're not gonna worry about it right now because you're in a 20-degree hammock, but when it gets cold this fall, you're gonna find out you're sleeping the wrong way.
Them tootsie toes are gonna be quite chilly.
But yeah, man. So first question here is, would you rather sleep suspended over a colony of noisy frogs or a patch of wild, prickly, stinging nettle?
Well, I have done the first one. We were camping in Fort Wilderness. When I say camping, I really put parentheses around that at Disney. And we were on one of the canals, and sweet fancy Moses, the frogs, lizards, alligators, whatever creatures were out there were having an orchestra that night, and I had really a lot of trouble sleeping. However, I've never hung over stinging nettle, but I've fought with stinging nettle, and I will definitely take the bugs. And I usually have my cell phone in my hammock, and I usually just throw some rain sounds on before I drift off. I'll just turn the volume up a little bit. So I'll take the loud frogs.
I'm gonna agree there. Never, like I said, I've never hung a stinging nettle, but I've brushed up it against enough backpacking that I definitely don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom and feel that every time I.
Whew, whew. Man,
Nope,
that
I'm good.
experience lingers. Lingers.
Mm-hmm. Bad thing is, I've gotten kind of used to it now that I've done it. So I've got it, ran into it so much. Now it's just like I kind of like, oh yeah, that's stinging nettle. Okay. Would you rather have the tree straps holding your hammock snap during a gentle breeze, or have them slowly stretch down until your backside drags through the dirt?
I will say the slow descent is extremely more preferable than the sudden snap. Because again, gravity always works. And again, that whole physics thing, when your butt hits that ground at a higher speed, the amount of pain that your tailbone definitely experiences is significantly more. I've experienced both. I've had back when I was a little bit heavier, I had a pair of Kevlar. Gosh, I haven't seen Kevlar straps in forever. But God, they used to be a really big fabric or type of webbing that a lot of people use. I had a pair of Kevlar straps snap on me, and that the fall wasn't too bad. It was just that sudden stop at the bottom that was quite painful. I've also had the experience of the slow descent when I was talking about earlier, where I'd created instant wear on those beetle
Mm-hmm.
buckles. That was definitely a moment like, oh no. The prolonged like, oh poop. When you just had the slow, yeah.
Yep.
It's more demeaning than anything. Like the sudden snap is like, oh okay, that kind of happens. But the slow descent is just like you see everything in the woods just pointing and laughing at you through the entire thing. But again, I can shake off laughter. A broken tailbone is not exactly something you
Yep.
can walk off.
I mean, there's a reason why they say only hang your hammock as high as you want to fall.
Absolutely. There's so many people every year. They send me this video on Facebook where people are hanging over the Grand Canyon or something over some huge gully. And I'm like, oh, would you ever do this? No. No, those
Uh,
people are idiots.
I'll hang. I'll hang. Well, I ain't going. I'll hang pretty close to the edge, but it's kind of like kind of some areas where you get to up here in Kentucky. That's all you got.
Yeah, I've hung over some like rockier. If I did have a tree strap snap, it would be a bad time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, something over a canyon or something, you're like, no, I'm good.
No.
I'm good.
Or hang over like a waterfall. Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I know gravity will work. I don't need to test it any more than I need to.
Okay, man. Last one here. Would you rather have all of your marshmallows get burnt to a crisp, or have zero marshmallows left for your s'mores?
I mean, like, are you talking like s'mores? Because I'm one of these freaks that I kind of like a burnt marshmallow. Like, not gonna lie. See, what a lot of people don't know, if you burn your marshmallow, you actually got like 2 or 3 marshmallows out of one because you can just peel that like crispy charred layer off, get that caramelized sugar. So I'm not hating on some burnt marshmallows. Not gonna lie.
Well, I'm not a big marshmallow person, so I could still go without the marshmallows because I can't eat them burnt. Can't do it.
I'm not a big graham cracker person. Like so, when for
I can
me,
eat I can just eat graham
oh
crackers
my
like out of
goodness,
the container.
so like that was the s'mores for me. The graham cracker was the hang up. And just the texture and just weird, you know, uh, part of it, like also maybe growing up poor, you never got like the name brand graham crackers. You always got the true value. These were stale 6 months ago,
Clover Valley.
so yeah, yeah,
Clover
yeah.
Valley.
so so
You're
you
from
might
Florida. You know
just
what Dollar Generals are.
yeah, 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 yeah. So they're just it's never. So I discovered, and we did these in California. Instead of the graham crackers, we just replaced the graham crackers with tortilla shells, and we just threw them on the Blackstone. So we made s'moritos instead of s'mores. Also, if you use the Reese's
I know
Thins
popcorn's really good that way.
popcorn on a black stove.
No, popcorn like with the marshmallow and chocolate. I mean, that'd be good.
Oh yeah. My mom used to make we just call them popcorn balls every year for Christmas, and yeah, I'll tear up some popcorn balls.
Oh man. So I want to. It's come that time, man. We've actually went over a little bit here, and it's been a great time. I'm not gonna lie. You come in here and talk before, and then we sit here and talk the entire time here, and we could probably talk for another hour.
I might not can do a lot of things really, really well, but I can yap like a doctoral thesis. So,
Hey, that's what I like. I mean, we've met briefly at HangCon, and it was like, hey, but you're like I said, you're one of the ones that's
here, there, everywhere.
and the HangCon. That's one of your crazy events. Maybe eventually I'll catch you at maybe Who Hang or something. Who knows? Fall Sprawl. I've been thinking about that one, hitting that one this fall, and then what you mentioned hangs earlier. Ones that I don't like to miss. I don't like to miss Small Hall. One that Dutch throws up there. They throw a nice hang up there. They do it twice a year, and then like you said, Machilligan. That's going to be on my list this year. I'll be up there.
All right, so we will hang out at Machilligan. I'm still waiting on Fall Sprawl. Always falls on kind of they're all falling really on a busy part for school and things like that for me. So last year I had to make the choice of Fall Sprawl or Machilligan. I want to give Machilligan probably one more. If I can get out to Fall Sprawl again, there's a few other events that I have to go to either at the school or with camping and stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely hang out at Machilligan.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I want to thank you for getting on here and doing this, man. Reached out to you and asked you, and you was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." Yeah. And that's what I love. I love getting people in here and introducing people to a lot more other people. That's what it's all about. Like I said, you seen him in the comments there, Mr. Jeremiah Stringer. After talking to you on here, y'all have a lot in common as well. I mean, he's a math teacher, married to a teacher, and they do a lot of trips together. She probably don't enjoy them as much as he does, but she goes on out on them with him. She's kind of like my wife. She'll go, but she'd much rather be just camping, not the backpacking portion.
yeah, it's kind of like my wife as well. Like she thoroughly enjoys the trips, but sometimes our definition of camping is more preferable one way or the other.
Yep. But yeah, man, like I said, I want to thank you for getting in here. If you want to just tell them again where they can find you at. I know you've got several places out there.
Yeah, so you can, like I said, I'm the host of the Hammock Hangers podcast, and we've been running that podcast for about 3 years. You can find that on wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be Spotify, I use Podcast Addict, or on YouTube as well, and on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find out all things HangCon. You can find hangcon.com, which is our website. You can also reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram for that as well. We also have a HangCon Europe as well, if you're interested in checking some of our adventures on the other side of the pond. So yeah.
Can't say y'all go just about everywhere.
Asia is our next goal. So that's part of my 10-year plan.
Oh man, I love it. So yeah, like I said, I want to thank you for getting in here. I want to thank everybody out there in YouTube land for chatting, keeping everything going, and thank you all for getting in here with us again tonight. It's like I said, we're in here every week. I'm in here for you all. I like to get people in here. Like I said, I'm slowly learning to be a good listener, and I like getting people in here like AJ that likes to talk. So that's what it's all about. Getting to know these people, getting to know your family. It's what it's all about. So it's a small community, and we're all about the community. It's what it's about.
And I appreciate all the work that you do as well of exposing people to this community as well. So I can't appreciate the hard work that you do for your channel and getting that information out as well. Thank you much.
Thank you, man. And I want to. We'll get you back on here. I'd like to get you back on here and pick your brain more into the HangCon stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, my friend.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll be in contact with each other. We've already talked a lot about hammock camping and conventions and everything. So, and guys, like I said, I want to thank you all for getting on here again for this Thursday. We'll be back next Thursday. It will be a special. I'm not going to put anything out about it because it's a special. So it'll be the day of. I'll make the link, and it's going to be a different time. It'll be a lunch special. So we'll be at lunchtime, and I'll give you a small little thing. It will be about food. So there will be food involved. But guys, I want to thank you all for joining us here, and I can't wait to catch you all back next week, hopefully on the special. If not, we will be back the scheduled time the following week. Have another special guest already lined out. You can probably see them before then if you follow my brethren out there in YouTube land on the Backpacking Podcast. I think they're going to have them on as well. Another great group of backpackers that done something for a great cause. Look them up. I've shared them out there on my socials. They're getting up there pretty big with some people. Done some great things for the community for St. Jude's and stuff. So, but anyways, go check them out. I think they will have them on their podcast tomorrow. Don't know the time, probably around 1 or so, but look them up. Backpacking Podcast, another great podcast. We're all, like I said, we got the Hammock Hangers podcast. We got the Backpacking Podcast. I'm just getting into this, getting my feet wet. Been doing it for just that a year, and you know what? I'm starting to really like it. And guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. Sorry, got onto a little ADHD tangent there. Tends to happen from time to time. But guys, can't wait to catch you all again on the next episode. And you know how we like to end it. You adventurers, y'all just keep on adventuring.